Not too long ago, the Bohemians were introduced to Age of Empires 2, a new Age of Empires 2 Civ, as well as the Poles, which I already focused on last week. But in this particular video, I'm going to show you the power of the Bohemians, and we're going to start a conversation about how Bohemians should possibly be played and how you could possibly counter them. It's a very special game. There's a lot to break down. Thank you guys for watching. Happy to have you here. So, in the blue, we have ACCM, and I should say a lot about ACCM. We're going to have the time. It is Arena after all. ACCM is, in my opinion, a top 10 player now, having broken into that over the past year or so. ACCM is also, in my eyes, the best player from Vietnam. And it's kind of funny because he's playing here as the Vietnamese. Now, ACCM has maybe played with Vietnamese more than any other high-level player because when Vietnamese were really, really bad, and they've since received a series of buffs, he was still playing with them. And I don't know if it was because of, some pride thing, he wanted his civilization to be good. But either way, he's played with Vietnamese a lot ever since they've been out, and that's been many years. So ACCM is a top 10 in my eyes, and in terms of the ranking, around top 10, top 15 on the ladder. But of course, that just depends on who you're playing, what you're doing. The point is, big boy in terms of the ladder and world rankings in tournaments. And then here, and forgive me if I get this user's name wrong, I did do some practicing before this. We have a player who's a little bit new to the top 100. We have RMQ, and RMQ is a player who hangs out with all the clowns. So you see this little CL at the bottom right? That stands for Clown Legion. Other names, a part of that team would be like John Slow, who there's plenty of YouTube videos about. Basically just players who love to play Arena. And Arena players tend to focus on things that I think Bohemians are going to have success with. So, first and foremost, just going to go through the bonuses here. You have to respect the Bohemian Monk Rush. Their monasteries, their universities, and their blacksmiths are very, very cheap. They're minus 100 wood. That means your blacksmith, if you just wanted to go for fast blacksmith upgrades, is only 50 wood. That's insane. Their monasteries, only 75 wood. The potential with the civilization to go fast castle and drop down a bunch of monasteries and go for a lot of monks is probably better than any other civilization right now. They have great monk technologies, and in the Imperial Age, if it gets crazy, you actually have a unique tech which will make your monks only cost food. That's something that I'll bring up later, hopefully, if I remember. I do not think that actually makes them OP. I think it's just the other bonuses that really makes you have to respect the Civ. But you might be thinking, T90, I'm an Arena expert. I watch a lot of Arena, and what players tend to do nowadays to combat monks would work really well against the Bohemians, and I think you're not wrong on that. So what that is, and we have plenty of time to talk about it as they're just building up towards their strategy. What that is a stable play. So back in the day, players used to just boom and stay inside their walls. Nowadays, players will go aggressive in the middle of the map. And so to combat those monks, what players tend to do is go for the counter, which is light cav. Now, I have other videos out there that show how strong monks can be if you're able to mass a ton of them. And I will have future videos this week uploaded about the Bohemians and just how the monks are going to work. But yeah, I think ACCM is probably going to be thinking about the stable play, probably into light cav, and we'll see how that works out for him. But it is worth returning to the player here. This is a player who recently kind of broke into the top 100, and this is a player that's going to feature a little bit more on the channel due to his aggressive nature, which I think makes things interesting. And another thing I need to bring up about the Bohemians is their mining upgrades are also free. So if you want to go for crazy monks, then what you can do is you can just plop some villagers on gold. It's already going to be mining faster than other civs. That's pretty sweet. And then if you want to go to stone as well, that is also going to be an option. Now, I talked about the monks because it's something you have to respect. It is one of the best things Bohemians can do, and it is one of the strongest things they can do. And on Arena, you're kind of just guessing what the opponent's going to go for, right? So in this case, I think ACCM, being the experienced player that he is wisely going to assume, well, if he goes monks, I need a counter to it, because otherwise, I'm not going to be able to stop monks too much. Sometimes the best thing to do against monks if you don't have light cav is to make your own monks and convert them. Vietnamese do not have good monk upgrades, so that wouldn't really even be an option. So far, it kind of looks like he's going to build up towards that. Of course, I have seen some of this game, so I have an idea of that's what he's going to do. But it's important to note because that is not what the Bohemian player is going to do. The Bohemian player, and this is going to be our focus in this game, is going to go for hussite wagons, okay? Now, the Civ is brand new, and when new Civs come out, the devs kind of have to let people toy around with the Civs to figure out what's strong and what's not. Many other people have brought up the fact that chemistry is available in Castle Age for Bohemians. That can be interesting. I, of course, have talked about the monks. But the one thing that I think is really tough to stop right now is going to be those wagons. And that's what RMQ's plan is. To eventually go fast castle, and is to eventually drop a castle and make those crazy wagons. Now, they're treated as siege units. So you would need to be able to get redemption to be able to convert those units. They're 200 HP. And so Vietnamese do not get redemption. ACCM's thinking, okay, I'm going to make light cav to counter your monks. And ACCM is going to be a little bit surprised because we're not going to see any monks, at least at the start, from red. Now, the other thing that's really good about the light cav play, and by the way, I have a feeling that you guys are going to see a lot of this stuff in your games over the next couple weeks if you actually are playing Arena. ACCM's eco is going to be insane. When you're producing scouts, you need a lot on food. When you have a lot on food, that means a lot of villager production. So you delay your town centers a little bit. You spam those scouts, you spam those light cav, and then when you drop additional town centers, you're going to have the food economy. It's going to be healthy. You can boom. And, if you're able to control the middle of the map and get all the relics, that's best case scenario. You have great eco, you have relic control, and you have map control. So ACCM, I just added 3 C's to his name. ACCM up a little bit faster, and ACCM getting lucky here is going to find this scout. So this is also best case scenario. Getting some hits on the enemy scout when they're probably not going to make any. And then now, I want to show this moment real quick again. I believe this is experience from red. Watch this. See, when a scout hits you, it stops for a bit. You see this? Look. He stops, so the enemy scout hits him, and then it creates some separation there. I believe that was intentional. I've been seeing that more recently from other players too. I don't know if I'd have the guts to try it there. I would probably want every bit of HP as possible, and I'd probably let the scout in. But anyways, it's important. ACCM gets some hits. ACCM on the way to Castle Age faster. And ACCM is going to have some good eco, like I said. So, meanwhile, over here, you have 5 villagers on stone. Normally, you would either need to research the mining upgrade or you need to send more villagers to stone. And then you've also got 5 villagers going over to gold. Again, same thing. Normally, you need to have more villagers on gold, or you would need to research the mining upgrades. So what's nice about this build from red is that because the mining upgrades are free, you don't need to have as many villagers on these resources. So you actually have a pretty good food eco, pretty good wood eco as well. We have double lumber camp here. That's pretty unique in all-in builds. That's going to lead to extra efficiency. The farm upgrade is going to come in as well. So, I mean, the farms are going to last a long time. That's also very unique when it comes to these all-in plays. ACCM doesn't know that doesn't see that the opponent's up yet. But I think sometimes if someone's going to go fast Castle Age for monks, they're normally up a little bit faster. I think ACCM's got to be keeping an eye out here, but ultimately thinking about it like, are we going to see those wagons? Anyways, behind this, ACCM's economy is looking perfect. The standard opening for high-level arena is to see a monastery, right? And what really excites me about this game is that ACCM is the much better player, and ACCM has an ideal build to counter Bohemians. This is a build order that counters the thing that Bohemians are deadly at on arena, and that's a lot of monks. So, attacking this gate, keeping an eye over here, just looking to see what the enemy's up to. Enemy's going to hit Castle Age, and red isn't even going to hide the fact that this is going to be the game plan. This is also exciting for me if you can't tell, because there's not going to be a single surprise for ACCM. ACCM saw the castle. ACCM now is probably thinking, let's get as many relics as possible, and let's get an economy lead. Now, there's so many tiny little details that are so important in Age of Empires games. I'm going to point this one out to you because this is clutch from ACCM. Not only is ACCM going for the second town center, but ACCM is town centering a wood line and a stone. So you're probably not going to mine a lot of stone right now, but in a couple minutes, he's going to start to send some villagers to stone. And that's because if this push gets crazy from the opponent, you want a defensive castle. So Here come these hussite wagons. You know, I probably should tell you how much they cost. I believe it's 100 wood and 70 food. Or no, sorry, 100 wood and 70 gold. Excuse me if I'm a little off on that. ACCM loses the first scout to the wagon. This is a chunky boy, okay? It looks pretty clunky. You can't really shoot out of the side of it. That's just for looks. You point and shoot, and you can only shoot one direction. Yeah, red scout just went down as well, and here comes this wagon. Let's see how this wagon does against the monk. Going to try and hit it. Actually, it looks like a shot was fired there, or maybe the scout hit it. I missed it. Yeah, it looks like the thing's going to roll in close, and boom, hits the monk. And ACCM's like, I don't like that. Let's attack it. And look how tanky it is. 17 attack. These things are really, really hard to kill. Back at home for ACCM. ACCM does have the third town center going up. You can see ACCM already has a massive economy lead. But ACCM does not have any relics yet. And ACCM was maybe not expecting the monks to come out. I do not believe ACCM had spotted the monastery earlier. Let me just double check that. Yep, so that did catch ACCM off guard. ACCM was not expecting there to be monks as well. So Red ends up denying these relics. They're actually closer to ACCM. 4 out of the 5 were closer to him. But it looks like Red's going to snatch these things. And ACCM is probably disappointed in that. But ACCM will know. Eco upgrades are discounted with Vietnamese. Those eco upgrades are in. And also the vill count's looking amazing. And already having 4 villagers on stone means that if the push gets crazy, you can just drop a defensive castle and go up to the Imperial Age. That is the meta. ACCM will know that. And ACCM is able to get a monk kill there. And this scout sees all these freaking rocks here and is trying to take out the monks. And let's see if the scout can survive this. Nope. Monk almost went down there. And that'll be at least relic number 2 for Red. Looks like Red is probably going to get 3 or maybe 4. There's another one over here. Red did scout that. But yeah, so I've already kind of given you guys the idea of how this is going to go down. But the big thing here that's so exciting to me is before it all gets crazy, ACCM has, in my opinion, done everything that could have been possible against this, except for maybe just get that one relic over here. That could have maybe been a little sneakier. A fair play to Red. And now these wagons are here, and these wagons are attacking the gate. Now, they do not do that much damage against buildings. The thing about this unit is that it's extremely hard to kill. And you'd need to have redemption. About half the civs have that to be able to convert them. It says in the tech tree that their weakness is against mangonels. So we have a siege workshop for ACCM. ACCM's going to maybe think about getting some mangoes out. And what's tricky is, and this is why it's in my opinion, a weird design to make a siege unit that is weak against mangonels. What's weird is smart players at this level are just going to make monks to convert those mangonels. So Bohemians have really good monks and really cheap monasteries. So Red is getting redemption, so if mangonels are used in defense, they'll just be converted. Mind you, there's a 20 villager lead for ACCM right now. Really good job from Red, though, to not have a lot of ILTC time. It is a healthy 1 town center eco. And the only thing that's going to be spent as the second castle comes up on ACCM's face, the only thing that's really being spent by Red is food for villagers every now and then wood and gold. And of course, a little bit of stone there for castles, but this is a pretty crazy push. So you guys at lower levels probably understand the amount of anxiety you would feel up against this. But high-level players, they're kind of used to facing up against crazy strats. And ACCM he's looking to weather the storm here. And unfortunately, oh man, that monk gets a conversion there. And the knight now goes down. The beauty of being in Red's position is all you focus on is the front, because you don't have a lot of eco to work on. So it is a really tough position for ACCM to be in. But ACCM has a massive lead with eco. And ACCM is going to try and complete this castle. Now, Maganel gets converted. This is crucial timing here, folks. If this castle doesn't go up, ACCM will probably die. But it looks like the position of the castle is just good enough to maybe complete here. And this is crucial. Now, there's 3,000 HP of wagons here. With any other civ, you really have to be worried about the castle fire. But when I first saw this wreck, I was like, wait a second. Does the castle even do that much to this? Okay, that wagon took 2 volleys, 3 volleys, 4 volleys. Still getting hit. And choo-choo! Here come these freaking wagons. And they go right underneath the castle. They don't care. They don't care at all. Look at these bad boys go. They're crazy. Crazy armor. And they're going to run right underneath this TC. And now ACCM has villager lead, but ACCM's like, what? What is this? Against any other Civ, this defense would work. So ACCM is going to start to add some mangoes. At least the monks can't get in here. Let's see what type of damage the mangoes can do. Again, it says it's weak against siege, this unit. It doesn't look like it's that weak. If the Maganel has to do 3 or 4 volleys to kill it, not sure if it's necessarily worth it, but I'm now looking at it, and it doesn't have the most range compared to the mango, so maybe that's going to work out for ACCM. More wagons over here. Half of ACCM's eco is idle. If I didn't notice or mention it already, Red is actually fast snimping behind this because you just don't have to spend any food to be able to accomplish anything here. And sure, a lot of these units are weak now, but how many villagers have not been able to work for ACCM? Look at the eco idle time just skyrocket. The villagers are also dying. The wagons are slowly going down. And ACCM is soon going to have Trebs on his face to take out that castle where there's also idle villagers. And ACCM just, like, doesn't know what to do against this. And yet ACCM has a 40 villager lead right now. I warned you. This is going to become meta in some way, shape, or form, okay? And I'm not really sure if there's much you can do to stop this, guys. We're going to have that conversation, but remember, if you try and prep for an all-in wagon push against you, it could be the monks. It's really hard to know on Arena what they're going to do. ACCM thought monks. Should have expected wagons. Well played from Red. Red is now in the Imperial Age. 3 castles. Look at the amount on gold. Look at the amount on wood. You got 5 farms. That's just enough for 1 TC to produce vills. Now, of course, we're going to have additional monk upgrades come in. So block printing will give monks 12 range. And those monks could convert everything that ACCM has. ACCM still with a massive score lead. ACCM with literally double the eco. Army count's not too crazy, and ACCM now going for rats and archers. Also getting Bodkin Arrow. Unfortunately for ACCM, he's kind of stuck in Castle Age. So you can't really do too much on Arena to counterattack someone. That's why these strategies work. If it's an open map, players would just counterattack. But because there's walls, you can't do that. So ACCM has a brilliant idea. And I really wish this thing was a bit cheaper so we'd see it more frequently in high-level games. But ACCM is going to make a siege tower here. So this game has already been unique because of the new civilization and this new build order and this crazy push from Red. But the siege tower can fit 10 rats and archers in there, and there is very little at home for Red. I mean, imagine if rats and archers got to this gold or to this woodline. I guess this gold is protected. It is 3 relics for Red. Red didn't even get this one. I'm sure you guys have picked up on that already. And let's see if Red will spot this. So, doesn't look like Red spotted the siege tower. As ACCM is really under pressure, ACCM loses the castle. Will soon lose access to this gold. And ACCM is making a backup castle and a bunch of houses, trying to go up to the Imperial Age, which is the correct move. These villagers, unfortunately, are going to have to relocate or switch sides here. It looks like the Mango is happily taking those out. ACCM with another siege workshop here. ACCM about to siege tower. ACCM also escaping this way, trying to just branch out with economy to go to different areas. And I believe that is a double click. I think ACCM accidentally double clicked all of his villagers. This is so stressful. And of course, that's not going to help matters. Still 90 villagers versus 47. Villagers here getting pushed off of stone. The wagons and the mangoes, the trebs and the monks rolling right in. And here now are the rats and archers. Now, I watched this game before, and I don't think Red even knows about this right now. Red is so focused on the front. It's typical arena players, right? So focused on the micro. We didn't see a single reaction from Red. Red didn't send any wagons back at all. So, like, this wagon's still going forward. You're going to need something in defense here. There goes ACCM. That is his way back into this game. Now, watch this. So, again, this unit's supposed to be weak against siege, but monks can convert the siege from distance, and the monasteries are cheaper with Bohemians. So the monks are trying to take out the siege here. These things can sit right underneath castle fire, even with Bodkin Arrow. It doesn't matter. One Mangonel gets converted. More Mangonels could get converted. Look, the monks are not being focused down by ACCM's castle because of these tanks. Another Mango gets converted. That Mango, if it fires here, Gets another kill. The rats and archers run through here. I'm not sure if that's the play. These things are still sitting on the wood line. Red just now realizes Red is closing in on population, and ACCM is still a minute away from the Imperial Age. What do you make against this? What do you do against this? These things are everywhere. 4,000 HP of military units here, and this is not even counting the monks or counting the trebs. The town centers have Bodkin Arrow. That's as much as you can really do. The castles had Bodkin Arrow. Red ran underneath 2 castles in this game. If there were more castles, I'm sure Red would have happily ran underneath it. This is the Imperial Age DC for ACCM. And ACCM is going to make it to Imp. But then what? This did get dealt with. Certainly was a hit for Red's Eco. So that gets dealt with. And ACCM's trying to expand. Because I think ACCM recognizes how bad Red's Eco has been. But now, ACCM has lost so many vills. ACCM has lost 75 vills to this. That the vill count's got to be around even. And then the ACCM has no relics, no access to certain resources. I guess is on gold, is on food, is on stone, is on wood technically. But, I mean, this is crazy. And this is a player who's like 400 elo, 500 elo below ACCM. Not a player who has tournament experience. Not a player who is as good as ACCM. But what Arena allows you to do is out-strategize and out-pressure the opponent. And there's arguments to be made as to why that is. In some ways, it's actually because there's less strategic diversity. Because, like, ACCM couldn't counterattack, right? It eliminates half the game because of the stone walls. But it also, like, while it does eliminate some strategies compared to open maps, Arena also allows different strategies due to the closeness. So, I mean, it's why some people hate it. It's why some people love it. I'm sure ACCM didn't love this. And ACCM calls the GG. This is the Bohemian Nightmare. Now, tomorrow I'm going to have an upload where I discuss the monk aspect. Because I think right now it hasn't clearly, or it hasn't truly sunk in for some of you. And it shouldn't yet until you see it. But, like, what's scary about this is the monk aspect is arguably stronger on Arena, and ACCM went for an opening which was to counter that. Now, we stopped making light cav or scouts when he realized it wasn't going to be all-in monks, but what do you do if you get it wrong here? This is incredibly strong. I think the only way that you can counter this right here is if you have monks that have redemption, so you can convert these units. That's clearly the only way. Mangonels won't cut it. And then even if you end up making monks that have redemption, the enemy has cheap monasteries, so they can make their own monks and convert your monks or convert their units back. It's a real clowny, crazy civ. So I happened to see a message from ACCM where he, I have to keep this on the DL a little bit, but basically there is a group where I think this aspect can be public. There's a group where high-level players and people like myself can give input on the game. Doesn't always get listened to, of course, but there's a room for the Bohemians. ACCM just mentioned something about a game where something crazy happened as like an argument for, hey, we might need to look at one of these units. And I messaged ACCM. I was like, hey, bro, you want to feed me that recorded game real quick? People on YouTube want to see it. And props to ACCM. He actually gave it to me. Oh, man. It's ridiculous. It is just ridiculous. Very hard unit to kill with anything but monks. And their eco is also insane because of the free mining upgrades. The Bohemians are like this tricky closed map civilization. I do think the devs still did a really good job with the Bohemians. I think there's civs that are still stronger on Arena than Bohemians. I think it's going to be matchup oriented. And they are kind of weak-ish on more open maps. But YouTube, I need to hear what you think about this game. Look at some of these stats here. And I apologize in advance for all the people who play this game in a mid to low elo. Because if you see Bohemians, you're going to be crapping yourself now. You're just going to be like, oh, God. No, T90, what have you done? Why are you incentivizing this? Because it looks really fun. There's got to be something beautiful about killing someone who had 40 more vills than you and who's way more skilled than you, just with all-in units like this. 106 kills for Armku, 39 deaths. You can see the buildings raised there. The army high is also pretty telling because it's hard to kill those things. In terms of the economy, ACCM had more wood, more food, and more stone, but did not compete with the gold. And yeah, I think at some point it's also going to show the villagers. Yeah, check this out. So in total, ACCM had 132 villagers in that game, and then ended up with 40 at the end, or 46. And then in total, Red only had 52 vills that game, and had 44 near the end. I mean, like, I don't know what ACCM could have done differently there. I really do not. If you go for Siege, it gets countered. You go for Rats and Archers, it gets countered. You go for Monks, you get converted. It's a nightmare. That's the title. Anyways, YouTube, please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed this. There's some big changes coming to the channel soon, so there will be more YouTube-only content, more very interesting, thought-provoking games. Hope you're ready for that, but looking forward to your comments as well. Thank you.